What do you consider to be the most important Scrum event and why? Actually, one of my favourite questions, though as an interview question, I'm not actually sure how useful it is. It is an interesting question, but I would be surprised if the answer wasn't retrospectives. And why retros? Because of that continuous improvement element. So for me, it is retrospectives. What is the most important to me is retrospectives. And you may find me saying that actually, if you get rid of the rest of Scrum and all you do is commit to a retrospective, commit to taking time every few weeks to deliberately seeking out an improvement, you're going to start to see other parts of Scrum emerge, and definitely that agile ethos if you're working in a complex domain, because of the very nature. So why retros in Scrum? Well, planning's interesting. It sets you up, you spend time, you work out what you're going to do and how you're going to do it, and that's great. Okay, but there are many ways you can solve planning. Sprint planning is one of the ways. Daily Scrum's incredibly important in maintaining alignment to that sprint goal, keeping everybody on course. Reviews, opportunity to get feedback on the product you're building, that increment, just opportunity for feedback and steering the ship to that increment. But the retro, for me, really stands out. At its simplest, it's an opportunity to get feedback on the process and seek improvement. How do we as a team work together, and how could we be better? Okay. And that's incredibly important, but it can be so much more. A retrospective is really about a team coming together and having very honest conversations with themselves. Okay? Being individually honest with yourself. It's quite a tough thing, saying where you're good, where you're not so good, where we as a team are good and not so good. What are the things we can tackle? Okay? There's so many valuable items that will spin out of those conversations. Some of them big, some of them very small, some of them may be intractable. You may not see a way through them, but at least they're out on the table and everybody's aware this is an issue. And without knowing that, how could you possibly improve them? So the retro starts forming a backbone for the team. It's a place where, yes, you seek improvements to your process, you seek improvements to how you work together, but it's also a place where you can understand each other better. You understand why that's an issue for you, whereas it's not for me. Why that's an issue for me and not for you. Okay? How do we work together? How do we build that relationship of trust? How do we build together a sense of safety, an ability to talk, say things that maybe in other teams you've been in, you couldn't say for fear of retribution, for fear of being put down, for being belittled, for, the snarky comments. The retro is a great place to start building all of these things. So it's the place for me in Scrum, in any team, where you really build that team. Okay? It's that place where you can have the difficult conversation. You've got to have it. You don't want to, because let's be honest, not many people want to have a difficult conversation, even if as a Scrum Master or an Agile coach, they're willing to step in and facilitate it or lead it or even have it. They don't want to. None of us do. Okay? But in the retro that you can say it and there'll be people there to support you through it. Okay? Because everybody comes together and everybody wants to be better. So for me, which is the most important event in Scrum? The retrospective. On the face of it, it holds equal footing with everybody else. But when you really get into it, when you run good retrospectives and you create that energy within the team to have honest, open conversations, to allow conflict in a healthy fashion, to really challenge each other, cheer each other on as well, okay, then it comes into its own. Then it really stands out as a way to improve as a team, to improve your product, to improve your process, but also to improve yourselves. If you've got to this point in the video, I hope you've enjoyed it. If so, a like would be appreciated. If you want to hear more from me, more answers to questions that maybe you've got in the Agile world, please subscribe to the channel. And if you've got a question that you really want answered, drop it in the comments. I promise we'll get around to it. Thank you.